I, 37 male, have been married to my wife Sadie, 37, for 4 years. I have a daughter, Chloe, from my previous marriage, tween. Sadie has a daughter, Ace, 19, from an ex. Ace hasn't been in our lives often as she's lived with her grandparents her whole life because the state took her from Sadie when Ace was 7. We still saw her on holidays and tried to reach out. Ace was living out of state with her boyfriend, but he was recently arrested, so she asked if she and her baby could move in with us as she needed help getting back on her feet. My wife and I spoke about it and agreed. When I brought up the extra bedroom in the attic, which is an area in the attic we made into a spare room for guests many years ago, and no one uses the attic anyway, my wife became upset, gasped even, and said she was not making her daughter with a young baby to sleep in the dirty attic. I said that obviously we would clean and prepare it, and where else did she suggest she sleep, which is when she told me Chloe's bedroom would be perfect. Chloe's bedroom is very large and across the hall from the bathroom, which Sadie said was perfect. I told her Chloe would not be giving up the bedroom she'd been living in since before I even met her. She got upset and started to plead, saying that this could make up for the years lost, proving she really loved her and was wanted. I told her no, she could prove that another way, that we wouldn't give up the bedroom. She got angry and said a tween doesn't need all that space and I was picking favourites and not even thinking of the bigger picture. Ace will need more room and it would be hard for her to go up and down the stairs with a baby, etc. I stuck to my answer and my wife slammed the door and went for a drive. Today she tried convincing me again and I wouldn't give in and we got into another argument. Am I the idiot? Edit, Ace was removed from Sadie's care because she was deemed unfit. She had sugar and drinking problems. So Sadie was deemed unfit and you, a person with a young daughter, thought it was a good idea to marry someone who not only had their child taken away but never even earned that child back? You are the idiot, OP. She clearly doesn't care about her stepdaughter and is ready to throw her out of the only bedroom she's known. She's not a good mom to anyone. It's not just a daughter, it's an infant grandchild, a do-over child. Once they move in, Sadie will not want them to leave. Amazing point, she will totally latch onto the infant and try to live a new motherhood through her daughter's baby vicariously. There's nothing temporary about this arrangement. Her daughter has nowhere to go and a young child. You are going to have them forever. That is scary and horrible because once the daughter and granddaughter enter the house, I'm unsure how she will treat her stepdaughter. I fear the worst. This is so much. No, the attic is too dirty for my child, but we can put your child in the attic though. She is willing to move your daughter, her stepdaughter, to the dirty attic, but not have her daughter stay in the attic, and she sees nothing wrong with it. It's surprising Ace would trust her own child in a home with Sadie, given what she must have been through herself. She really must be desperate. OP would be far better off helping her find her own little place nearby and easing them into getting reacquainted at Ace's pace. That would be better if he can afford it. Why does he have to afford it? It's his wife's daughter. She should be the primary one paying for her daughter. I'm betting that Ace is going to abandon the baby, and then things are going to get even worse. Sir, this is the hill to die on. Time for your wife to be held accountable for her life choices. Time for her daughter to be held accountable for her life choices. Your innocent tween daughter doesn't deserve to pay dearly for others' life choices. The woman needs to get over herself and her dumb, silent treatment. If she doesn't let this go, maybe it's time to go your separate ways. If you give in, your daughter will remember how her dad treated his new family better. My mom's little brother Alex, he's a young teen, is moving in with us. I don't really mind or care as there's literally nowhere else for him to go right now, but they want me, nearly adult female, to share a room with him. We have 3 rooms, Mom and Dad's room, my room, and a room in the basement. No one uses that room, so I assumed that was where he'd be sleeping. But Mom said no because Alex is scared of the dark and that specific room has no light. I told her to buy him a lamp, but she got mad and said he wasn't sleeping in the basement. I asked her why he was a teen, not 4. She just said I'm being very difficult and he's just going to sleep in there, so I need to get over it. I don't want to share a room with a teen boy and I have my boyfriend over a lot. Also, I don't even know him. We've never met. It got really bad the night before Alex came. Mom kept talking about where they put the mattress as if it had already been decided, so I told her again that I didn't want him sleeping in my room. She looked angrier than usual and told me that she'd make me sleep in the room in the basement and give him my room if I didn't learn to cooperate. I told her that I didn't care. I wasn't going to let him into my room. Then I went into my room and locked the door. Sometime later, she and my dad asked me to open the door so they could put the mattress in, but I refused. Mom got furious again and said I'm being incredibly selfish. I told her I didn't care. I did the same thing tonight even though Alex was also here and Mom wasn't talking to me anymore. Dad said he's really disappointed in me as well, but I think he's just mad because they had to put the mattress in their room and that's where Alex slept. I refuse to budge on this, though I do feel a little bad. Still, he can totally sleep in the basement. They're making it difficult for themselves. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I wouldn't want a teen boy watching me change, looking at my braless boobs, watching me deal with any female issues that come up. You both need privacy. Nearly adult me would have yelled about how I don't want a teenage boy going through puberty, watching me sleep, change, or access my belongings. Not to mention that it'd probably be pretty uncomfortable for the boy too, both for the reason of changing and also because he'd have to tiptoe around his niece on all those other issues. If I were him, I'd be begging for the basement room with some strong lamps the moment I found out. Why can't your parents sleep in the basement? Yeah, your mom is full of crap. You do not put teenage boys and girls together to sleep in the same room, especially if one of them is your uncle. Move into the basement, put up with it, and move out as soon as you can. You try to fight it, but honestly, if they insist on him having that room, you cannot do much. Be clear that you're angry and feel your privacy has not been respected, and then move your stuff into the basement. This issue started when my wife left for a week for a girls' trip. The kids are all in school and I took over as the primary caregiver when she was gone. It went well, and when she returned she asked if I had trouble. I told her no and everything went smoothly. This started an argument about how I thought it was so easy that she was a stay-at-home mom. It wasn't a good time and I'd already been pushing her to return to work part-time since the kids were in school. We've talked about her looking around summertime. The issue now is I work from home twice a week and every time she sees my screen or I complain about work, she tells me she can do it. I've talked to her about it and nothing has changed. That if she did, it would go smoothly. I thought back on our argument and asked her about it. She denied it had anything to do with it. So she won't stop and I had enough of it today. I was trying to figure out why my code had an error. She saw what I was doing and told me she could do that. I told her to go ahead and make a copy that she could work on. Well, she tried for about 5 minutes until she gave up. I reiterated that if she could do my job, find the error. This started a huge argument about making her look like an idiot, and now she isn't talking to me. Am I the idiot for proving that my wife can't do my job? Not the idiot. When she came back, she asked if I had trouble. It sounds like she expected the house to fall apart without her presence, because her role as a housewife is so difficult a man couldn't possibly do it himself. The fact it went so smoothly for you has probably made her angry because it's proven that the workload at home isn't so huge that it prevents her from going back to work. And now you both know that. Several years ago, when my stay-at-home mom ex-wife was planning a week trip, I told her I would have our cleaning lady come a second time during the week so the house could be clean for when she got back. She told me that that was cheating. I was supposed to suffer so I would understand what she goes through every day, but I was planning to work every day, so it would be absurd for me to do both her job and mine. The point of her getting away was so she'd have a break, not have an opportunity to teach me a lesson or make me suffer. She refused to go on the trip because I planned to bring in the cleaning lady, but she liked to play the victim in all things and that's why she's my ex-wife. Christ alive, glad she's your ex. OP, it sounds like your wife might be dealing with feelings around being a stay-at-home mom now that your kids are in school and don't need her as much, but lashing out at you isn't a fair or effective way of handling that. Is it possible she's feeling apprehensive about going back to work after being away for so long? I'm sure it's a nerve-wracking thought, especially if she's looking for jobs unrelated to what she was doing before. Maybe a therapist or a counselor could help her navigate this in a healthier way. What I did was wrong. I feel stupid. I kinda snapped, I guess. My husband and I have 2 daughters, tween Hayley, my stepdaughter, and infant Hannah. Since I gave birth and up until about 2 weeks ago, I couldn't keep down any food outside of crackers. It would just make me sick, which the doctor said was because of my adjusting to breastfeeding and that it was normal. So up until 2 weeks ago, every single hot meal I made was eaten 100% by Hayley and my husband, though I still made myself a portion just in case. Hayley always ate my portion before leaving the table. She would see it set out on a plate for me that I would try picking at, but as soon as she touched it, I would stop picking at it and she would just take over. I spoke to her about it a few times because I won't eat anything another person has touched. It grosses me out. So she knew. She didn't want to stop because it's not like you're going to eat it anyways. My husband has spoken to her several times and ultimately told me that I wasn't making enough food because Hayley was still starving after eating her plate and second helpings. When I was finally able to keep food down again, I started making more dinner to combat the issue. For example, I made a big sheet pan of lasagna, which should have included leftovers, but my husband had 2 helpings and the rest went to Hayley because right after I made dinner, the baby was fussy and tired and ultimately needed to be fed, so I excused myself to the other room. When I came back a half hour later, Hayley was forking the last portion out of the pan using her fingers. So she touched it, I wouldn't eat it. Last night I made 5 medium-sized chicken breasts. My husband had 2, Hayley had 2, and I had 1 on my plate. I was eating it slowly so I wouldn't get sick. Hayley ate her entire plate and then said, "You going to eat that?" and put her finger directly on my chicken. Her husband sent her to her room, but ultimately I didn't eat it. She knew what she was doing. Then, tonight, I made 5 cheeseburgers for them, I can't eat hamburger, and 2 hot dogs for myself. Again, I ended up having to feed the baby directly after finishing dinner. They'd eaten by the time I was finished feeding the baby. I make myself up 2 hot dogs, and Hayley reaches over and picks up the hot dog, bun and all, and flips it over, puts it back down and says, "Well, I was just checking if the bread was mouldy," and then looks up and sees me glaring at her and says, "Oops, sorry, forgot. Guess you're not going to eat that now, so I can have it if you want." I took my entire dinner, plate and all, chucked it in the trash can and walked off. She started crying to my husband about not wanting to upset me and that she was just hungry. My husband yelled at me for being childish and wasting food and left with his daughter. He said, "Yeah, I get that it's damn annoying and I reprimand her every single damn time, but you didn't have to stoop to her damn level. You're more childish than she is." Edit, it's not just with dinner that this happens. Even when I ate nothing but crackers, she still asked me for my food. She eats multiple snacks during the day, including big breakfasts and lunches. She's been to a nutritionist and she's healthy. She has a high metabolism and just constantly wants food. Never gains a pound though. She's 5'2", 86 pounds. She's not overweight. She barely gains anything. I talked to her about it, but she said, "That's how it works at my mom's house. Mom said that adults shouldn't eat if the kids are still hungry." Not the idiot, but you married one who spawned one. That he allows this is abusive. He doesn't care. As far as she goes, she has issues going on. See if her school has any counselling services. Lady, you married a true-to-heart idiot, though. He's the biggest problem here. This sounds like a manifestation of food insecurity. Is there not enough to eat at Mom's? Maybe her bio-mom is restricting her food intake at their house because she has her own issues. So Hayley is having to overeat when she comes to Dad's house? You need to tell her that you need to eat as well to be able to feed the baby. If there's not enough food for her, she needs to tell you so you can make extra or get something else after. Would also start keeping a closer eye on her as she could be developing an eating disorder that isn't showing medically yet. Honestly, it sounds like she's punishing you or at least pushing your buttons for an unclear reason, but the amount she's eating sounds like a lot. I know preteens eat a crapload, but this sounds mad, like borderline binging, especially the thing with the lasagna. Also, can I just add that you don't have to clean and cook and kill yourself to do everything you're doing? Everyone should be looking after you right now, and you should just be able to be you and baby. It honestly sounds like you're pushing yourself way too much to keep up with chores and nonsense when your husband should really be taking some of the load. And if that's so, no wonder you're at the end of your rope. I had my gender reveal at the weekend, and when it was announced we were having a baby girl, my sister burst into tears. She has 3 boys and has always wanted a girl. They had their third in hopes of getting a girl, but when it didn't happen, my brother-in-law said he didn't want any more kids. My youngest nephew is a toddler, so I was surprised when she reacted like that. It annoyed me because when she ran to the bathroom, my mom went after her when she'd barely congratulated us. When my sister returned from the bathroom, she said congrats to me and had stopped crying but still looked angry and was just sitting with her arms crossed. I told her to leave and that she was selfish, she had 3 healthy kids and needed to get over it. She was angry and took her gift with her, and my mom said I need more empathy for my sister and that it's been really hard for her to give up her dream. My mom only stayed a little longer and then went early to check on my sister. Am I the idiot for kicking my sister out of my gender reveal? Not the idiot. Wow, if she was so sensitive about the gender, she should have stayed at home, not to mention how that's going to make her kids feel. But no, she made your day about her. You were right to eject her. She behaved appallingly. Is she always the spoilt one? Let me guess. Is your sister the golden child of your family? I pity those 3 boys. Imagine being the kids of your sister, though. So Mom is crying because she likes girls more. Now that's just sad. People, why? Those people will never forget seeing how upset their mother was for them being born the wrong gender. That kind of insecurity and guilt burns deep. Your sister should be ashamed of herself. Congratulations on your little girl and all the best.